Road conditions are dry and clear now, but that won't be the case for long. Drones are cool and unique because they give you a bird's eye view of certain images. But if you don't follow these rules and use them the wrong way, they can become dangerous. Scott, I'm here on Old Highway 25 in the southern part of Oktibbeha County, and right now I'm standing directly in front of the plane that crashed tonight. Take a look at it here behind me. It's sitting in the same spot it landed in, roped off with yellow caution tape. Yeah, Andrea, this is how things are looking out here on County Lake Road. As you can see behind me, the barricades are still up, and that's because the roads are still closed. But the good news is it appears as if the pumps are working. Now, outside of this flame that's burning out now as we speak, everything is all quiet and clear out here tonight at American Furniture, but that wasn't the case a few hours ago. Crews spent more than 5 hours battling this large blaze. This is where that shooting happened. As you can see behind me, this is still a very active scene out here. You have the crime tape up blocking the entrance to the street. You have multiple officers with the West Point Police Department as well as the State Bureau of Investigation. Tears were shed. Hearts were heavy, and there was also laughter and love sprinkled in as family members and friends celebrated the life of Mason Sloan. Yeah, Andrea, snow flurries are actually falling down right now as we speak, and that's falling down pretty good too, as you can see on your screen. Now, these festive snowflakes mixed in with the Christmas tree and the Christmas decorations here at Tupelo Fair Park makes for a pretty festive scene out here right now. Residents say things are usually quiet here at Grandview Gardens Apartments, but that all changed on Tuesday. Officers spent several hours investigating a fatal officer-involved shooting here at this complex.
We're like, pow!
That gunshot is what woke Anthony Peck out of his sleep on Tuesday. Peck lives at Grandview Gardens, right next to where the alleged fatal officer-involved shooting took place.
I was laying down in my room and I heard a gunshot, and so I ran to my sister's room and got her, and then we both ran outside, and she called his sister and told her that they shot their brother.
Family members confirm Wallace Wilder is the suspect who was shot and killed in the incident. Sources tell WCBI investigators were initially called out to the apartment complex to serve a mental evaluation. When they arrived, we're told Wilder refused to let them inside his home, so investigators then had to force their way in.
I seen a lot of police over there at their house trying to get in. They were throwing benches down and stuff.
When deputies entered the home, the suspect allegedly had a knife and was threatening the officers. Sources tell us investigators eventually shot Wilder. The Gordo man was then rushed to a Tuscaloosa hospital where he later died.
The day was a tragic time for me, just to find out my cousin was shot.
Regardless of what he had, it's different ways that this situation could have been handled. Like a gunshot, son of mass, 4 to 5 times, whether it's 1 or 5 times, it's different ways to do it. Not have to shoot this man 4 or 5 times. I mean, it's just sad. I hate that it's had to hit so close to home.
Family members admit Wilder did have mental health issues, but they say he was taking his medicine. Now, as loved ones try to cope with this tragedy.
He liked to make you laugh, man, and he was a father, a great uncle, a loving brother.
They say they're still having a hard time coming to grips with what happened. They say investigators are staying tight-lipped about the exact details. Now they want answers.
Nice man, he don't bother nobody or nothing. He always stay to himself, so I really want to know why they shot him.
Deep down, man, I'm hurting, and I just don't understand it.
Multiple agencies, including the Pickens County Sheriff's Department, as well as the Reform and Gordo Police Departments, were out here investigating this shooting. This incident is now in the hands of the State Bureau of Investigation. Reporting in Gordo, Alabama, Quentin Smith, WCBI News. It's a video that's gone viral. A group of teenage boys beating up a 13-year-old.
The first time I watched it, I didn't watch it all the way through. That's how painful it was.
The teen being attacked is Marissa Triplett's oldest son. The pain behind this mother's eyes is unbearable as she watches the vicious attack on her phone.
To see all of those kids attack one child and for him to beg and plead for them not to do it, it is very hurtful.
She says her son was friends with the other teens seen in the video. They were all hanging out, getting ready to go play basketball when things suddenly took a left turn.
They was told to come and jump on my son because he had came to me about some stuff that had been going on.
She believes Reginald Moore is the person who sent the kids to carry out this attack.
He's influencing these kids to think it's okay to be in the gang, think it's okay to be bullying, and it's not okay.
They are trying to impress him.
Police Chief Sean Holdness says Moore speaks to the students at the alternative school in Louisville, where he tries to serve as a mentor. WCBI has obtained photos of Moore in one of those classrooms. Police believe the 27-year-old is using that to connect with teens and recruit them to carry out these acts.
Talking to Mr. Moore, he says, well, I can't control what they do, but they do look up to me. And there again, he's using his power as being a mentor to these young men to influence them to do things.
Triplett says her son has been attacked again ever since the first incident back in July. She's now pressed charges and will move her son to another school district in hopes of preventing more attacks from happening. Now, police are asking for the public to come forward with any information relating to this case.
Retaliation is not going to help at all, even though that's to be the first thing that we as a parent would think, well, they did this to my son, I want them to pay. Yeah, I do want them to pay, but I want them to pay the legal way.
Scott, they moved in at the beginning of this month. This marks the first home the couple has ever owned, and though they're heartbroken to see it destroyed, they're still grateful tonight because they know things could have been much worse.
And you see my pillow and my blanket right there where I would have been.
It was in this bed where Michelle Jones was lying down just minutes before the storm came Thursday night.
I'm just thankful to God because I was laying right where this tree just fell just minutes before it happened.
She's talking about this enormous tree that was uprooted and fell right on top of her home. As the storm was getting closer, without thinking, Jones got out of bed and went into the back room, not knowing what was about to happen.
I had just got up to go check on my husband in the bedroom because I was laying in the living room, and when I got up, the power went out, limbs fell on the trailer, and all I had time to say was, Jeff, I'm scared. And we heard a small boom and then a big boom, and walked down the hallway, and we saw the tree right here.
It's a sight Jones says she'll never forget.
At first, I was kind of worried about my stuff. I said, my stuff, my china cat, my TV. But then my husband, he looked over at me and he said, just be glad we're not taking you to the morgue because you were just laying right there where that tree was sitting, right there where that tree's across your bed. It was just right there.
It took the couple over a decade to move into their first home, but only took a matter of minutes before Mother Nature rained on their parade.
Just got settled in, and I hadn't even unpacked boxes yet.
Though the home is a total loss, there was one item in the house that was never touched or damaged during this storm.
I had an angel and a cross with some doves on it that was on top of my china cabinet. And the angel had fell, but the cross with the doves was still standing on top of the china cabinet.
Jones says she's always been a woman of strong faith, but after this storm, her faith got a little bit stronger, and she's now more appreciative of everyday life.
God is awesome. God is good. And he's the reason why I'm standing here right now.
Now, Jones says they do plan to rebuild, but for right now, they're going to stay with family members until they can get back on their feet. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Quentin Smith. President Trump is back in Washington after a quick trip to the World Economic Forum in Switzerland. But even while he was on the world stage, the president was still focused on what was going on in the Senate floor. CBS's Ben Tracy has the latest from the White House. For right now, President Trump is keeping to his planned appearances. He's scheduled to attend the March for Life in Washington on Friday. Mississippi requires high schoolers to take 4 subject area tests: English, algebra, biology, and U.S. history. Of those 4, the U.S. history test is the only one that's not required by the federal government or state law. Several people are now working to find a way to scrap that test, but as Courtney Ann Jackson explains, the recent attempts are hitting a roadblock. Well, the North Star Industrial Park in Altamaha County is getting the attention of some developers. Today, Golden Triangle Development Link CEO Joe Max Higgins spoke about the progress being made at the park and proposals for future projects. Higgins is asking city and county leaders to consider building a TVA pad, a spec building, and investing in a $1 billion project called Project Trinity. Funding for the TVA pad and spec building will come from the existing bond revenue from the park. Higgins says they are still looking for money for Project Trinity. Another area getting attention in Starkville is the city's streets. Aldermen approved the next step in building a multi-use path connecting the town and Mississippi State's campus. The first stage is a wide sidewalk and a 2-lane bike path on Loxley Way that opened to walkers and bikers just a couple of months ago. Our Bobby Martinez was in Starkville today, where he learned the goal is to make getting from point A to point B as smooth as possible. That was our Bobby Martinez reporting there. Now, Mayor Spruill also says she has a lot of projects that will take place this year that'll help with the city's infrastructure. And turning our attention over to weather, Keith, is it true that I hear we have rain in the forecast?
More rain. Love it or hate it.
I hate it. I hate it.